So today we're going to talk about, today is the first day of the month of Marcheshvan, which is misunderstood by some as Mr. Cheshvan, as the modern Hebrew Mar is Mr. So they made a like Mr. Cheshvan, or as half a joke, or it's already popularly understood as having to do with bitter because of the word mar, like Naomi says, Kerena li mara, ki hemar shadai li meod. So the popular etymology of the name Marcheshvan, which is today we're finishing the last day of the previous months, and we are starting the month of Marcheshvan. So the popular etymology connected the name Marcheshvan with this being a bitter month. Why? Because it doesn't have any holidays in it, right? So the previous month, the month of Tishrei, was ample with holidays. We had the day of we had Yom Teruah, the day of the blowing of the ram's horn, or Yom Hazikaron or Zichron Teruah, the day of memory, okay? And we call it Rosh Hashanah, the beginning of the year, the head of the year, because we start the year around this date. Again, we've talked about it in the past, and we've seen that the Jewish calendar has definitely more than one starting point, which is relevant for different aspects of it. So we've mentioned the famous Mishnah talking about 4 different beginnings of the year. And today we want to talk a little bit about the months. So as I said, we're starting the month of Marcheshvan, which has nothing to do with Mar, modern Hebrew for Mr., but it also has nothing to do with Mar as bitter for not having celebrations. We said that the previous month had both the Rosh Hashanah, and then we had the Day of Atonement, Yom HaKippurim, and then we had the Chag, the holiday, the celebration, or the festival, which is the Sukkot. And we had the Atzeret, Shemini Atzeret. We celebrate also Simchat Torah. However, it's not biblical, it's post-biblical, obviously. And in the month of Cheshvan, we don't have any holidays, any festivals, except for the festival that we had today in Israel, the first day that the kids could go back to kindergarten. I can tell you that, the parents were celebrating it hard, like better than any other holiday. But that's, kind of current COVID issues. Anyway, the month of Cheshvan or Mar Cheshvan also doesn't have anything to do with the next popular etymology, which means Mar as a droplet of water, because this is the first month in which you would have rain. So we have a verse about in which we equate the word mar with a droplet, according to some of the translations. Hen goyim kemar midli. Okay, so this verse that is understood as connecting the word mar with a droplet, taken from Isaiah chapter 40, verse 15, is, some have suggested, it's called Mar Cheshvan because of this droplet of water, because this is the month in which the rain might start in Israel, or at least you get a drop of water in this month. While the connection between rain and names of months is quite an established connection, it has nothing to do with this month, Marcheshvan. So after putting aside all of the popular etymologies, including Mr. Cheshvan, Bitter Cheshvan, and Droplet Cheshvan, which are all not what we have, not the origin of this of the name of this month, I thought that we might go this week a little bit on a discussion concerning the months. Now, I don't know to what extent we'll get to it today, but I want to start with, this is the cycle of the year. You can see the Cheshvan is here. That's the name of Cheshvan, or the full name is Marcheshvan. And I want to ask you guys, okay, you know the Bible. What are the names of the months in the Bible? So if anyone has kind of an idea or a suggestion, I'd love for them to kind of speak up.
Nisan
Yes,
is mentioned.
Oh, Georgie, you want to say something? Go ahead.
No, Nisan is mentioned.
You know that your camera is always kind of at the top. We can only see your eyes and up. Right.
Okay. Nisan is mentioned.
Nisan is mentioned. You say.
And
But
Tishri
what
we
are
just finished, right? Tishri we just finished.
No, okay, guys. I'm not asking which months are mentioned. I'm saying what are the general names of the Bible? Which names of the Bible? Okay, of the.
They're different from the ones that we have. They're different from the ones that we usually. I read them, but I can't remember them, and I know that they're different from the ones that we usually say. Apart from
So we had, so far as information that was provided for us, George, you said that Nisan is mentioned in the Bible, and Mignonette says that they are different than what we're used to. Betsy, what is your take on it?
I think that there are only 4 that are in the Bible, in the Hebrew. And I know it is the month of the Aviv, which is the barley, which is Nisan. And
Right.
I know that Tishri
Nisan
has
is the name of the car. Nisan is the name of the car company, Nisan, with the accent on the
Nisan.
last syllable.
Okay,
Right.
and that's the month of the Aviv. And I know that last month is actually called Etanim.
Okay, so very good. We are getting
And
a
then
lot of
I
information.
think I know the other 2. Do you want me to keep going?
You can go as far as you want.
I think bull might be in the Bible. I don't have my notes with me. And then I think the other one is like Tish B'Av, the month of the Father.
You
No.
got it. You almost
Okay.
fully impressed me. You quite impressed me, but no cigar there for the
Okay, I tried.
Right, but you did well. You did surprisingly, so far, not surprisingly in your standard, but usually the students, they know maybe the some of the late names, okay? But the answer is really quite complicated. Not something that is cerebrally challenging, but it is complex in the sense that we have more than one system of naming the months in the Bible, okay? The most basic one is actually not according to names, okay? The most basic, which was prevalent in the First Temple period, and hence it is prevalent in the First Temple period material, let's say the prose of Genesis to 2 Kings, with the exception of something that Betsy said and we'll get to down the road, is not according to names, but rather it's an ordinal naming system. What do I mean by that? I mean that we have the months according to the order in which they are mentioned, okay? So we have not Tishrei or Eitanim or whatnot, but rather according to the sequence. So we have the first month, the second month, and so forth and so on. And let's see these 2 examples. Okay, let's start by reading the first one. Guys, if you want to read, you're more than welcome to raise your hand so I know you want to read. And if you don't want me to call upon you because you raised your hand before, that would be a good time to kind of, very good. to fold the hand, if to use the poker term for it. Okay. Okay, yes. So, Ulrike, would you do us the honors of reading the first one here?
Okay. ויהי בחודש הראשון בשנה השנית באחד לחודש הוקם המשכן. Now it came about in the first month of the second year, on the first day of the month, that the tabernacle was erected.
Right. B'chodesh harishon. So what is the name of this month?
The first
month, right. It has no name. Right, we know which month it is. It is the month of Nisan, as was mentioned before. It is the month of Aviv, which is an agricultural description, which, by the way, was prevalent in ancient Israel. We know that from the Gezer calendar. Remember, guys, we've mentioned the Gezer calendar both in the past, more than once actually. We've mentioned it with in our conversation with Professor Stephen Fassberg, which talked about the Gezer calendar as being the first, or one of the first sources that are written possibly in Hebrew. Remember, guys, the Gezer calendar? I'm sure we'll see it together in the future, more in greater detail. Anyway, the first month here is not, because it doesn't have a name, agricultural or otherwise. It is simply an ordinal name. The first month, B'chodesh harishon. Okay, here describing the erection of the tabernacle. How about the second example that we have here? Jean, please. Jean, you have to unmute.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I put my hand up to read, but I was going to say, I thought, let me look at when Ruth went back and Naomi went back, but it was the time of the barley harvest. It didn't even have a month.
Right. Vehem about Bethlehem bitchilat ketzir se'orim. That is the verse to which you're referring.
Yes.
At the end of, or towards the end of chapter 1 of the book of Ruth. Okay. Techilat ketzir se'orim, the beginning of the barley harvest, doesn't say a specific month. It is, by the way, the beginning of the barley harvest is indeed the first month, the month of Nisan. Okay, the month of Aviv. All of these are the same month. But you can see that in the Torah, systematically and also generally in First Temple period, we have this standard of ordinal system. The first month, the second month, etc. Let's see Exodus 19, close to the 10 Commandments, to the covenant at Sinai. Let's see this.
B'chodesh hashlishi letzet b'nei Israel me'eretz Mitzrayim bayom hazeh ba'u.
Right, you can see that the accentation is on the second to last syllable.
Ba'u midbar Sinai. In the third month after the sons of Israel had gone out to the land of Egypt, on that very day they came into the wilderness of Sinai.
Right. So that's the first month is the month of Aviv, is the month of Nisan, is the month of the barley harvest, as we already remember by now. And on the third month, again, not any name, that's the month of the giving of the Torah. So they were wandering the desert for 50 days, roughly, okay? And then they receive the Torah, okay? In the third month. No name for this month. So that's the basic convention that we see. However, and I said this is the prevalent convention during the First Temple period. However, there is a good exception for that. Oh, by the way, just to set the timeline of these events, B'chodesh HaShelishi here, Exodus 19:1, happens in the third month after the Exodus, and Exodus 40 happens in the following year, okay? 1 year after the Exodus, okay? First month of the second year, Bashana Shanit. The bottom verse is the third month of going up from Egypt, of the Exodus. Okay, now going to the exceptions. So in the First Temple period, there are a few chapters in the book of Kings that are using different names for the months. And these two were mentioned by Betsy. So Betsy, you know that no good deed goes unpunished, right? Could you read aloud the top verse here?
Oh. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Very good. Bashana ha'achat esrei beyerach bul hu hakodesh hashmini kala habet lechol habayit lechol Debarav ulechol mishpatav vayiv nehu sheva shanim. And in the 11th year, in the month of Bul, which is the 8th month, the house was finished throughout all its parts and according to all its plans. So he was 7 years in building it.
Right. So, how do we call the month that comes after the 7th month, right? The previous month was the 7th month in which we had all of these celebrations. Now we have the 8th month according to the regular system that we've talked about. We call it Yerach Bul. Yerach Bul? Surprising. Why do we have this name, Yerach Bul? We could have said simply the 8th month. Why do we use here a different convention for the name of this month? Now, it should be said that this alternative convention of the names Bul, Eitanim, and Ziv are all concentrated in these around these same chapters of of the description of the building of the temple. Now, why is it important? Okay, the importance of it is because it is probably related to the terminology that was used by the builders. Who were the builders of the temple? Yes, Betsy.
I think it was the men maybe from Tyre that Solomon
Right.
had contracted with.
Right. So they had they worked, you know, they had their schedule, they had their, you know, clipboard, you know, oh, it's already the month of Bul. Okay, they were Phoenicians and they had a different schedule and they were using different months. Okay, so we see that around the building of the temple, again, that's the only place where we see this system, where we have Bul and Etanim and Ziv. Okay, we have this name. Now, this name is, since it's in the Bible, you know, people started interpreting it and connecting it and trying to understand it according to a Hebrew etymology. Some have suggested that the bala is withered, so the crops wither already, and you have to mix. Balal has to do with mixing, right? As in the Tower of Babel, when the Bible says, Kisham balal Adonai sefat kol haaretz, so you have to mix the food of the animals from food from home. So connecting the word bull for that. Some have suggested a connection between the word bull and the word for flood, mabul, right? Because again, it's the rain season that starts the rain season. So by building of the temple, instead of having a mabul, now the season of rain became to be a rainy season without the threat of a flood. Okay, some have suggested all kinds of popular etymological explanations, but in fact, this name is a Phoenician name, is brought by those builders. Okay, let's see the second example here for the previous month, the 7th month, right? Let's read this one, guys. I don't hear any. Mignonette, go ahead.
Vayikahalu el. Vayikahalu el Hamelek Shalomon Kol Shalomo Kol Ish Yisrael Beyarak Ha'itanim Bahak Vehu HaChodesh Hashavi, sorry.
English?
And all the men of Israel assembled themselves to King Solomon at the feast in the month Itanim, which is the 7th month.
Right. And again, let's look at some of the verbs here. How about the verb vayikahalu? Let's look at this one. Anyone? Let's hear you guys. Don't be shy. Okay, Nancy.
Vayiktol, kahal is the root. It's third masculine plural.
Right. So far you got 3 out of 4. The root is kofei and lamed. It's third masculine plural, and it's vayiktol. What is the binyan?
It's not vayiktol?
Vayiktol is the conjugation. What is the binyan?
Kal.
No, it's not kal.
Oh, yes. Oh, my. I just have a blank brain for a second, but I do know this.
Okay, so how do we do it, right? We have to look for any signs because kal is kind of the default when we don't find anything else. When we don't have any evidence to indicate otherwise, the fallback option is the kal, because the name kal means light. Light as in the opposite of heavy. It doesn't have any indication of anything else. But here I do see an indication of a different binyan.
Nifal?
Yes, it is a nifal. How did you guess so well?
By the vowel pattern.
Okay,
And
by the vowel, and yeah. And by?
The Dagesh.
Okay.
I don't know why that Dagesh is in the first. I don't think that's it. No, I don't know.
Oh, I do think it is.
Oh, okay.
And Dagesh in the first root letter in the prefix conjugations, yiktol, vayiktol, indicates the nifal, and you can see why. Because instead of a nun, instead of a verb such as vayin kahalu, we get vayikahalu. Okay, the nun assimilates into the following consonant. As in
Oh, right. Oh, it's coming back. I'm sorry.
No, but that's how it works, to go through these 1,000 times and then we get it. It becomes a second nature. I remember 10 years ago, Jean was still struggling with these, right? Right. Okay. Just stick around long enough.
Yeah,
it works.
very much. Very much.
You're kind.
Okay. So we've talked about bul and eitanim. Also eitanim, yeah, people started finding Hebrew reasons for calling it eitanim. But fact of the matter is that it is the Phoenician calendar here playing. And again, here part of the building of the temple, the schedule of building of the temple, here giving the date for the Exodus. And again, you can see that we have the month alongside to kind of translate it for the people who are not speaking this calendar yet. Let's see. This verse, guys, who did not read and wants to read? Georgie, you didn't read, right?
Yeah. Vayahiye Bishmoniyem Shanach Va'ar Ba Ma'ot Shanach Latsi At
Let's say it. The aleph is silent. Let's say it.
Let's say it. Okay, thank you. Baniye Israel Ma'aretz
Me'eretz
Mitzrayim Bashana Harbiye Bachodesh Zin no Zie C.
No, Ziv.
Z. Okay. Hu ha chodesh ha shaniye lamal
Shani hashani
ha shaniye lam lim loch Shlomo Yal Yisrael Vaid ben ha-bayit la-Adonai. Now it came about in the 408th year after the sons of Israel came out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month of Siv, which is the second month that he began to build the house of the Lord.
Right. So, Vayiven habayit ladonai. Let's see this verb. Let's see, guys. Anyone wants to parse the verb vayiven? Don't be shy. Vayiven is the root is bet nun yod. Okay, if you open a lexicon, you'll find it under bet nun hey. But etymologically speaking, as far as the third root letter, that is a yod. The binyan is kal. The conjugation is vayiktol. And this is the third person masculine singular. Subject is Solomon. And the object is, the direct object is habayit. Note that we don't have the definite direct object marker. We have a vayiven habayit and not vayiven et habayit. That's also possible. Ben Gurion, the first prime minister of Israel, he didn't like the word et. So whenever he, had the option to have with an et or without, he would have like without the word et. Vayiven habayit ladonai. So he built the house, that's the direct object, the accusative. Ladonai, for the Lord. That's the indirect object, the dativus, the titinos, all kinds of direct and indirect object. Moving on to the, Jean, Georgie, do you have questions?
No, I was late in putting my hand up to do that pausing.
Okay, okay. And you can see that the name of the month is the Chodesh Ziv, Chodesh Hasheni, what we call in, later on, Iyar. So far we've seen two systems of naming the months. One of them is ordinal and the other is basically Phoenician. And the water, as you remember, the watershed line in many aspects for the biblical Hebrew is the destruction of the first temple. With the destruction of the first temple, we see the Israelites exiled to Babylon, and we know that the Aramaic becomes the lingua franca of the ancient Near East, and also the official language of the Persian Empire. We've talked about that. And as you remember, we had a discussion with Professor Fosberg. He said that it was already making roots at that time alongside these. So it's not that these were the only thing that led to the Aramaic becoming more dominant, but that became the watershed line when we talk about standard biblical Hebrew and late biblical Hebrew. One of the changes that we see when we compare the first temple period and the second temple period is the name of the months. And already rabbinic scholarship in late antiquities referred to it by Shemot Chodashim Alu Mi Bavel. The name of the month, they came up to Israel from Babylon. Because indeed, during the Second Temple period, we can see the use of Babylonian month names. Okay, that became the standard. By the way, that became the standard that affected the Aramaic and the Arabic as well. Okay, so Georgie, that's for your question beforehand. Okay, and these are originally Akkadian names, Babylonian names for the months. what did you want to say?
Because in their calendar, there also I find two names which Elul comes.
Right.
One, yeah, Elul is there, and then there is
Right.
one more.
Not
Let
just
me-
Elul, but others. Tishrei.
Yes.
Right. Tishrei as well. I'm not saying that it's all, and some of them obviously changed and they reflect Muslim culture. Dual Hajj or Muharram and other months. But yes, they are. Some of it is based on the Babylonian names. Okay. Now, in the Second Temple period, as I said, we can see 7 out of the 12 names of the months that we use today are used in the Bible, but they are all used in the Second Temple period books. Here we have examples for the month of Kislev, which would be our next month. Okay, in a month from now, we'll start the month of Kislev, which again, according to the standard ordinal naming, is simply the 9th month, right? We finished the 7th, we're starting the 8th, and the 9th is next month, and here mentioned by its Babylonian name. So let's see these two examples. DJ, would you like to read the first verse here, Nehemiah 1:1?
Yes. דברי נחמיה בן חכליה, ויהי בחודש כסלו שנת 20, ואני הייתי בשושן הבירה. The words of Nehemiah, the son of Hakaliah. Now it happened in the month Kislev, in the 20th year, while I was in Susa, the capital.
Okay, the translation of Shushan Habira as Susa, the capital, is not very good. The Bira is probably this fortified part of the city, so maybe the fortress of Susa. Anyway, Shushan Habira is something that we see a lot in the book of Nehemiah, the book of Esther. Okay, but the point that I want to make is in regards to Chodesh Kislev. That's the name of the month. This is how he refers to it. Okay, not second, third, not by the Phoenician convention, but rather by the Babylonian one. And the same goes for Zechariah 7:1. Vayhi bishnat arba לדריווש המלך, היה דבר אדוני אל זכריה, בארבעה לחודש התשיעי בכסלו. So here we have both the ordinal לחודש התשיעי, Kislev, and the name, the Babylonian name that was adapted by Jews during the Second Temple period. Let's see an example from the book of Esther, also ample with dates, what was sent when, the dates right and left. Let's see this verse. Guys, I think that will be our last one for today. So who wants to take this one? Someone we haven't heard? Don't be shy. You know how practice makes. Okay, Annette, go ahead.
ותילקח אסתר אל המלך אחשוורוש אל בית מלכותו. בחודש העשירי הוא חודש טבת, בשנת שבע למלכותו. So Esther was taken to King Ahasuerus to his royal palace in the 10th month, which is the month Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign.
Right. So again, we have a naming convention that is Chodesh HaAsiri, the 10th month, the Ordinal convention, but also the Babylonian one, Tevet, which is related probably to the fact that, again, to the rains, might be with related to the biblical Hebrew tet bet and ein, tava, to drown, to sink, because of the rains. You sink in the mud during this month. Tevet. Come again? Okay. How about vatilakach? Who's up for parsing vatilakach? Jean, go ahead.
Try. It's vital. Vital, and it's Lamed Kaf Het, and Lamed Kaf Het, and it's it's vital third feminine singular, so is it a Nifal again? The Dagesh?
Yes, very good. Yes, very good. So you got all 4 out of 4.
Thank you.
Very good. Sure. So to summarize what we've seen today, we've asked ourselves, as it is the first day of Marcheshvan, and we haven't said what is Marcheshvan yet, we just kind of said what is not. We started from kind of getting out of disillusion of Marcheshvan having to do with mister, with bitter, or with droplet. And we started talking about the issues of months in the Bible. We've talked about the Ordinal system, the Phoenician system, and the Babylonian system. The Babylonian system is still serving Jewish calendar to this very day. And now I want to finish with telling you what is Marcheshvan. Marcheshvan is very interesting because it presents a very interesting phonetic change, okay, between the 2 bilabial consonant ma and wa. Okay, I want you to see my lips when I'm pronouncing the m and the w, wa, because the original pronunciation of the vav was wa. It wasn't a v sound, which is articulated as a labial dental consonant, but rather a bilabial consonant, almost. So wa and m. So warachshamnu, warchashman became marachshamnu, okay? Which means the warach, similar to the Hebrew yerach. We had the word yerach earlier for month, right? Remember, we had it here. The word yerach, for instance, yerach bul or yerach ha'eitanim. So warach shamnu was basically the yerach shemini, warach shamnu, the 8th month in Babylonian, became marachshonu or Marcheshvan. So basically, Marcheshvan is.
You have to parse all the verbs, Susanna.
We lost you, Netana.
There you are.
You're muted.
You have to unmute. Welcome home, Chanel.
Yeah. Bas, it's a bummer because I wanted to put it, I wanted to upload it to my YouTube channel because it was so nice and kind of nicely constructed. But now I don't have a recording because it was kind of abruptly stopped. The internet fell. Anyway.
recording might still be there in your Zoom because
I'm not sure.
have a look
Come
for it.
again?
It's still recording.
Still recording.
No,
Still
I
recording.
understand, but it's not. These ones are just recorded on my computer, I think.
Okay.
And when the internet stops like that, it doesn't. Anyway, I don't think it would. Based on my experience with Professor Fassberg, I didn't have a recording because also we had this disconnection, exactly like this one.
Your last words were Yerach and Marach.
Right. So I said Yerach or Warach Shamnu became Marach Shamnu, and that became Marcheshvan. So that's the etymology of the name Marcheshvan, simply meaning the 8th month, but in Babylonian. So that's that. And I won't see you tomorrow, but I will see you Tuesday.
Can I clarify something?
Yeah, go ahead, Nancy.
Okay, so the Maheshvan is Babylonian and the Bul is
Phoenician.
Phoenician. Okay. That's
Right.
okay, that's great.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Sure. And I'll see you Tuesday, guys, or some of you maybe earlier.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye.